7 centuries ago, farmers uncovered rules that kept their soil alive, their harvests abundant, and their communities thriving. Rules so powerful they shaped empires, and yet modern agriculture abandoned them. But not everyone. Hidden in the quiet valleys of America, the Amish still follow these medieval codes, plowing with horses, rotating crops by ancient law, and harvesting in silence. What secrets do they guard, and why do these forgotten rules still matter today? Tonight, we step into a world where the Middle Ages never ended. The medieval world was a place of scarcity and survival. Europe's peasants lived under constant pressure, thin harvests, unpredictable weather, and the looming threat of famine. Every decision in the field mattered. A failed crop could mean hunger, disease, or death. To endure, farmers developed strict codes of agriculture, rotating fields to preserve fertility, harnessing animals for power, and binding communities together in shared labor. These rules were not written in books, they were carved into the rhythm of daily life. The soil itself became a battlefield, and survival depended on discipline. Villages rose and fell on the strength of their harvests, and the wisdom of the land was passed down like sacred law. Centuries later, as the world embraced machines and chemical fertilizers, one people chose not to abandon those ancient codes. The Amish, descendants of European farmers, carried these medieval codes across the ocean and into the valleys of America. While modern agriculture raced towards speed and profit, the Amish preserved the old ways, plowing with horses, rotating crops by tradition, and harvesting in silence. Their farms are not relics, but living echoes of the Middle Ages, where survival rules became timeless truths. Step into the world of the modern gardener, and you'll see a paradox. Technology has never been more advanced, yet the soil beneath our feet has never been more fragile. Bags of chemical fertilizer line store shelves, pesticides promise quick fixes, and machines roar across fields. But beneath the surface, something is breaking. Soil degradation is the silent crisis. Decades of chemical dependency strip the earth of its natural fertility. Microbes die, organic matter vanishes, and the soil becomes little more than dust, waiting for the next rainfall to wash it away. Where medieval farmers rotated crops to let the land breathe, modern systems often demand monocultures, endless rows of corn, soy, or wheat. The result? Exhausted soil, weaker harvests, and a growing reliance on synthetic inputs. Pests, too, have become adversaries of our own making. Chemical sprays may kill them for a season, but they return stronger, resistant, and more destructive. Each year, gardeners and farmers escalate the chemical war, while the pests adapt faster than the solutions. It is a cycle of dependency, not resilience. And then there is the issue of control. Modern agriculture often places power in the hands of corporations, seeds engineered to resist chemicals, fertilizers designed for profit margins, and machinery that costs more than the land itself. Gardeners, even at a small scale, feel the ripple effects. They struggle with soil that won't hold water, plants that demand constant feeding, and harvests that taste less alive than they should. Contrast this with the Old World systems. Medieval farmers, and the Amish who preserved their methods, understood the soil as a living partner. They rotated crops, not because a textbook told them to, but because centuries of observation proved the land needed rest. They used animals not just for power, but for manure, a natural fertilizer that returned nutrients to the earth. They fought pests with diversity, planting companion crops that confused insects and strengthened ecosystems. Where modern gardeners often stand alone, overwhelmed with weeds and pests, medieval systems thrived on community. Shared labor meant shared wisdom. If one farmer's crop failed, neighbors stepped in. The Amish still embody this principle today. Barn raisings, threshing crews, and collective harvests echo the medieval village. The weakness of modern systems lies in their fragility. They depend on external inputs, fragile supply chains, and constant intervention. The strength of medieval rules lies in their endurance. They were designed for survival in a world of scarcity, and they still work in a world of abundance. So, when modern gardeners struggle with soil that collapses, pests that resist, and harvests that disappoint, the Amish remind us of something profound. The solutions were discovered centuries ago. They are not lost. They are alive in quiet valleys where medieval farming rules still govern the rhythm of life. 1. Crop rotation, the law of renewal. Medieval farmers discovered that soil must rest. Grain one season, legumes the next, then a year of fallow. This cycle restored fertility without chemicals. The Amish still honor this law. Corn, oats, and hay rotate across their land, while clover and alfalfa heal the soil. What was once survival science is now timeless sustainability. 2. Animal power, engines of flesh and bone. The horse collar changed history. It allowed horses to pull plows with unmatched strength. Medieval Europe expanded its fields, and the Amish still rely on this breakthrough. Draft horses thunder across Pennsylvania soil, their manure feeding the earth, their power carving furrows. In their harnesses, you hear the heartbeat of centuries. 3. Communal labor, strength in unity. No medieval farmer stood alone. Harvests were collective, barns raised by neighbors, survival shared. The Amish preserve this code. When a barn rises in a single day, when threshing crews work side by side, they echo the medieval village. Community is their machine, and unity is their strength. 4. Seasonal rhythm, faith as calendar. Medieval agriculture followed the church calendar, planting, harvest, and rest tied to sacred festivals. The Amish mirror this rhythm. Planting begins after prayer, Sundays are for worship, and harvest ends with thanksgiving. Faith is not decoration, it is the clock that governs the land. 5. Hand tools, the craft of continuity. Medieval barns held scythes, sickles, and wooden rakes. The Amish still wield these tools. Simple, durable, repairable. They pass from generation to generation. In the ring of the blacksmith's hammer and the sweep of the scythe, you hear continuity. Tools that fed medieval villages still feed Amish families today. Walk into an Amish valley, and you'll see medieval wisdom alive in practical, everyday choices. Their methods are not romantic gestures to the past. They're working systems tested daily in the soil. The Amish still rotate crops with precision. Corn may dominate one field this year, but next season, oats or hay will take its place, followed by clover to restore nitrogen. This rotation keeps their soil fertile without chemical fertilizers. It is not theory. It is the reason their land remains productive generation after generation. Animal power is equally central. Draft horses pull plows, wagons, and threshing machines. Their manure fertilizes fields, closing the cycle of nutrients. Unlike modern farms that rely on synthetic inputs, Amish farms recycle life back into the soil. The horse is not just a tool, it is part of the ecosystem. Community labor also continues. When a barn needs raising, dozens of neighbors arrive. When harvest comes, threshing crews work side by side. This collective effort mirrors medieval villages where survival depended on unity. For the Amish, it is not nostalgia, it is efficiency rooted in trust. Seasons remain tied to faith. Planting begins after prayer, Sundays are reserved for worship, and harvest ends with thanksgiving. This rhythm ensures balance between labor and rest, grounding farming in spiritual meaning. Even their tools reflect continuity. Scythes, sickles, and hand-forged implements are maintained and passed down. They may look simple, but they endure, proving that durability often outlasts innovation. The Amish do not farm to reenact history. They farm to live. And in their choices, crop rotation, animal power, community, faith, and tools, medieval rules still prove their worth. What once kept villages alive now sustains families in quiet valleys, reminding us that old wisdom can still feed the modern world. Medieval farming systems were designed with one purpose: survival. Every rule, crop rotation, communal harvests, animal power, was born from necessity. If the soil failed, the village starved. If the harvest faltered, winter became a season of hunger. These methods were not about efficiency or profit, they were about endurance. The mindset was simple: protect the land, protect the people, and life continues. Modern systems, by contrast, often prioritize speed and profit. Monocultures stretch for miles, chemicals promise instant fertility, and machines push production beyond natural limits. The focus is not survival, but yield, not resilience, but output. And while this approach feeds billions, it also leaves us vulnerable, dependent on fragile supply chains, synthetic inputs, and a soil that grows weaker each year. The Amish remind us of a different psychology. Their methods are slower, yes, but they're stable. They trust in cycles, in patience, in community. They farm with the mindset that tomorrow must be protected as carefully as today. Viewers can learn from this. Survival systems endure because they respect limits. Modern systems break because they chase speed. The lesson is clear: resilience is not built in haste, but in harmony. The medieval rules the Amish still follow aren't locked away in history. They can be adapted even in small gardens today. Here are simple steps anyone can try. 1. Rotate your crops. Don't plant the same vegetable in the same spot year after year. Rotate between leafy greens, legumes, and root crops. This keeps soil nutrients balanced and reduces pest buildup. 2. Use natural fertility. Instead of relying on chemical fertilizers, add compost, manure, or cover crops like clover. These restore nutrients and improve soil structure, just as medieval farmers did. 3. Work with nature, not against it. Plant companion crops, basil near tomatoes, beans near corn, to deter pests and enrich the soil. Diversity strengthens resilience, while monocultures invite problems. 4. Respect seasonal rhythms. Don't force your garden to produce endlessly. Allow soil to rest with fallow patches or cover crops. Align your planting with natural cycles, giving the land time to recover. 5. Build community around food. Share seeds, tools, or labor with neighbors. Medieval villages and Amish farms thrive on cooperation. Even small acts of community make gardening more sustainable and rewarding. These steps are not complicated. They are old truths, rediscovered. By applying them, modern gardeners can build resilience, protect their soil, and reconnect with the wisdom that once kept entire civilizations alive. 700 years ago, farmers carved survival into the soil. The Amish still walk by those rules, proving that wisdom endures when it is lived, not forgotten. Modern agriculture may chase speed, but speed without resilience is fragile. The silence of horse-drawn plows, the rhythm of crop rotation, the strength of community, these are not relics, they are reminders. If we forget them, we risk losing more than harvests. We risk losing balance itself. The past is not gone. It waits in the fields, whispering lessons we cannot afford to ignore.